Kevin J. Johnston here. This is the Tax and Money Show that plays live every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on freedomreport.ca. You'll also catch us live on x.com/KevinTheJackal, x.com/KJJTV13, Instagram. I forget. Oh, yes, Kevin J. Johnston forever. And of course, TikTok at Real Kevin J. Johnston. We're all over the place. We are broadcasting on every social media platform that hasn't kicked me off of it yet, because the left wing likes to cry and complain and moan about the things that I say and do. And I'm asking everybody watching right now, what have I said that really is so bad? Can anybody out there think of anything that I've said on any show I've done in the last 10 years where I lied? Can anyone find one thing? I think there was 2 pieces of information that I gave that were incorrect. And what did I do the very next day when I found out that I was wrong? I retracted my mistake. That's 2 times in 10 years. Not bad, huh? That's pretty good. Not like CNN. It's 2 times every minute. Well, here we are. We're talking about money and taxes. And tonight's show is all about crushing your payroll debt in Canada. So for our American friends, I think actually for our British friends and our Australian friends and even New Zealand friends watching the show, you'll notice that the tax systems are kind of similar to Canada. And Sanjay, if you've got $400K in payroll tax debt, stick around, ask questions, listen to what I've got to say for the next 2 hours. You've got to hang out here for the night. Don't leave. And let's everybody right now, double fingers, start liking it over here on Kick. Double fingers here on Instagram. Start liking. TikTok, double click. If you're watching over here on Rumble and D Live and Facebook, please share. Please hit the thumbs up. If you're watching on x.com, please go ahead and click the retweet or whatever it's called now button. I'd very much like to get this out to as many people as we possibly can. The tax systems of all the Commonwealth countries, with the exception of India, are quite similar. So you have what's called a voluntary reporting system, especially in Canada, and you voluntarily decide, Lord knows why, to do taxes. You don't have to. And you voluntarily tell the Canada Revenue Agency everything about your life. Why? I don't know. I think you all think that you have to. Why would you do that? But we're going to cover some of that tonight. Well, what I specifically would like to talk about are corporations tonight. We're going to do a few shows about corporations now, because I'm finding that there's a lot more corporate debt problems right now in Canada than there are personal debt problems. And it's kind of frightening to think that everybody who contacts me to talk about their corporations has payroll debt. That's bad. Now, let's explain how this works. If you register a corporation in Canada, you are essentially giving birth to another human being. It's called a person. It has a 9-digit social insurance number, just like human beings do, which are also called persons. So you are a tax collector for the government of Canada. Now, the corporation is completely separate from you. And so long as you are not the director, the CRA can never chase you for any of the debts that the corporation has. But if you once were the director, what they'll do is they'll determine that you were director at the time that they say that you owe tax. And then they'll try to chase you personally for it by putting writs of execution against your properties and threatening to go to your bank and demanding that the bank give them money, and the banks always capitulate and so on. So what happens with a corporation? Let's kind of cover from start to finish what they are and what you do with them. You start a corporation up because you want to have an insurance company and liability that's not you personally. Your corporation holds the lease on your building. The corporation holds the lease on your car. The corporation owns the tools of the trade, and the corporation makes the money that you are charging to your clients. Now, if you are coming to me for your taxes, then your corporation is never going to file taxes, because you have no legal obligation to do so. There's not one law in Canada that says you have to do your first tax return. Not one. They suggest it, but not doing your first tax return is merely frowned upon. It's not illegal. In law, there are 2 words you need to pay attention to: The first one is improper. And the second one is illegal. Everything I do is improper. And when I say improper, all it means is that I'm doing things differently than the status quo, differently than the average, differently than everybody else. Why? Because I'm not a loser like everybody else. I want to be a winner. I want to be rich. So I studied tax law for 40 years in order to be able to put together these cogent arguments to bring forth to you the knowledge that you need to not pay tax anymore. You don't have to do a tax return. So we will get our clients into a brand new tax return and then begin to address the problems that they have with their corporations. So going back now to what I was saying about a corporation, hold on. So Jonathan, if you're going to be a troll, you're out of here. All right. I just be careful. With a corporation, you do business with people. Your corporation writes invoices. Your clients hopefully pay those invoices after you provide a service. You then bring that money, put it into your bank account, and then at the end of the year, if you choose to, you tell the Canada Revenue Agency how much money you made. Don't do that, but some people do. Many people do. During the course of the year, you have staff. Some of you do. And staff have two choices: go on contract or go on payroll. Now, anybody that goes on payroll is a moron, complete idiot. If you go on to payroll, you get to pay 4 taxes. 4. And then on top of that, you pay sales tax and goods and services tax and fuel tax and alcohol tax, entertainment tax, hotel tax, road tax, property tax, you name it, you're taxed on it. Okay. So everybody, you've got a corporation, you've got staff, and your staff go on payroll. Why? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because the average person can't think for themselves. And I've had arguments with many people who work for clients of mine who will state, I want you to do payroll for me. You got to deduct my taxes because if you don't do them, the CRA is going to chase me for it. And I ask, why would the CRA chase you for money that you don't report? Why? Because they do. Well, no, they don't. And they don't unless you tell them that you made money, in which case they will. So with payroll, you're paying federal income tax. You're paying provincial income tax. You're paying Canada pension plan, and you're paying employment insurance. You're never going to collect on your pension plan in Canada, by the way. That fund is going to be empty by 2032. And you're never going to get employment insurance because they do everything they possibly can to not pay you. So why pay into it? You would then, if you're smart, would go on contract. If you want to work for someone, you would register your own corporation and you would invoice your boss and say, every Friday, I'm going to write you an invoice for absolutely everything I've done. You'll charge GST or whatever on a tax on top of it, and you'll get a check for the entire amount of what you've earned. And because it's a corporation, if I'm your tax guy, I'm going to tell you, you don't do a tax return either. What's the point? I mean, imagine keeping 100% of what you make. Wouldn't that be incredible, everybody? Well, if I'm your tax guy, that's exactly what happens. So when you've got when you've got staff and they go on contract, good for you. You're going to save a little bit of money. But if your staff insist on being on payroll because they think they're legally obligated to do so, and they think the CRA is going to come to their front door and put their hands out and say, give me money. Or in the case of a few that I've spoken to this year and last year, where they would, the staff of my clients would actually say, I'm not going to go on contract, man, because if you don't take my taxes away, I'm going to go to the bar and drink it, man. I'm going to go and buy beer. Like, this was said to me a few times. And I have to come back and say, listen, I'm sorry, but it is not my responsibility to be accountable for you. If you're going to take money that you would need in your mind only to report to the Canada Revenue Agency, and you're going to spend that on liquor in a bar, that has nothing to do with me and has nothing to do with your employer. In fact, I would encourage you to change your life. Instead of going to the bar and getting liquored up, go to the gym and work out. You know what? Go to the library and read a book. That's free. and it's good for you. So people panic thinking that if you don't do their source deductions for them, then they're going to owe the money at some point to the CRA, which they will if they don't hold their taxes and pay them to the CRA if they report them. See where I'm going with this? Everybody's got this really stupid idea in their head that you have to tell the Canada Revenue Agency what you make. That employers think, oh, I have to put my staff onto a T4 and I have to tell the CRA what I paid my staff. Why do you think this? You know, the Canada Revenue Agency, they are criminals. They are scum. They are just filth beyond reproach. But it's not like they have a flyer campaign or a newspaper advertising campaign or a radio campaign where they say, hi, this is Bob Hamilton, Commissioner of the CRA. And if you don't pay tax, we're going to come to your house and kill your dog and run over your cat and take your kids and take your house and steal your money and put you in jail. The CRA has no such advertising campaign. Do you know where you got that from? You probably listen to your parents. What did your parents know? You probably listen to your friends. Oh, I know some guy named John whose roommate Steve had a cousin named Bob, who had a girlfriend named Sue, who had a dog named Rover, whose owner once got audited and it cost him everything. That's how you think. Remember that joke in the movie Spaceballs? I am your brother's, cousin's, sister's, uncle's former roommate. Where do you people get this information from? And you all think that because the person that told it to you is someone that you know that they're going to be correct when they tell you that you're going to get audited if you don't do your taxes the way that I do them. Remember we talked about this last week? When you have people in your life who are cowards, who are afraid of the government and afraid of the CRA, what did I tell you? Don't take advice from them. Don't take tax advice from people who are broke. Don't take tax advice from people who are afraid of the Canada Revenue Agency. It's all going to be wrong. I'm not afraid of the CRA. The CRA is afraid of me. And that's the way I like it. And they're about to get more afraid because I've got more stunts I'll be pulling on the CRA coming soon. I'm the only one out there that sends people to their homes. Hey, guys, how you doing? Lawsuit. Told you I was going to find you. These are the things I do to the CRA, which you all have the right to do, and none of you do. It's kind of sad. So what I want to say to you, everybody, is that these source deductions that you think that you've got to pay, nobody ever told you that you got to pay them. Nobody. At least nobody who's credible. It's all inside your own head. And the same thing with employers. So what happens here in Canada, because the economy sucks, because the left-wing nut jobs have been running the Canadian economy now for 9 straight years, and Stephen Harper, even though he was a conservative, a very good fiscal conservative, he still kind of screwed the Canadian economy by putting his entire vote on oil. He based the entire economic future of Canada on oil, and when it dropped to half price, what happened? The economy tanked. It went nowhere. And then you put Trudeau in charge, and women elected this guy because he had nice hair. And what did he do? Well, he destroyed the country, which is exactly what he said he was going to do. He told you on CNN 2 weeks before he took office that Canada was going to be the world's first post-national state. He told you 2 weeks before he took office that he was going to destroy the country. No one listened. I did. I told you all about it. What'd you guys call me? Oh, yes, conspiracy theorist. Well, do you like your Canada now? Everything I told you about economic collapse has happened. You're welcome, by the way. So what I want to say here, everyone, is that we all have options. And I'm asking all of you to comprehend that the economy sucks and Canadian culture is all but dead now, and nobody knows how to run a business properly. Now, I'm not saying that makes you bad people, but I am saying that I need everyone to kind of up their game a little bit. If you want me to do your taxes for you, I can't do your taxes if you're going to be afraid. So let's not be afraid. Now, please, everyone, listen to what I'm going to say here and don't be offended by what I'm saying. Just take it for what it is, a university level education. Corporations in Canada are usually run by people who are really good at the one service that they are selling. Really good landscapers should be landscaping, not doing accounting. Really good welders should be welding, not doing accounting. Really good doctors should be doctoring and not doing accounting. And the Canada Revenue Agency is well aware of the fact that professionals are not professional accountants. They're doing their own thing. And the CRA counts on this. So they're just waiting for you to make a mistake and they can just jump on you like vultures. Payroll. Let's talk about this. You run a corporation and your staff decide they want to be on payroll and not on contract. Okay, whatever. Let's put them on a payroll. So you're going to be deducting, thank you, Donna. You're going to be deducting federal income tax, provincial income tax, Canada Pension Plan, and you're also going to be deducting employment insurance. And on top of that, you're going to be matching the CPP and the EI, 100% for CPP, 140% for EI. I'll cover that in a few minutes. Now, your staff member, if in the province of Ontario, they make $100,000 a year, you're deducting $26,000 a year from these people, and you got to pay that to the government. Well, you don't have to. You choose to. Sorry. You choose to. And that's called payroll. So on payroll, what will happen is you're in a hurry to bring clients in. That's marketing. You're in a hurry to get the job done for your clients. That's customer service. And the fulfillment of a contract, by the way. And then you're in a hurry to pay your staff, which is what you should do. Your staff should always get paid first and you get paid last. That's just how it works. And in that time, you run out of time to take all the source deductions off of your staff and then to pay them to the Canada Revenue Agency. And you forget. I understand, man. I understand that you forget. I've run different companies in the past. I've run them in the past where I'm so focused on landscaping, which I did do for a while, and then ditch digging with bobcats and backhoes and whatnot. We did that. I just didn't have time to do payroll. So I got behind on payroll, but I did find out that there was a way that you don't have to pay it. And that's what tonight's show is all about, everybody. So don't beat yourself up. If you run a corporation anywhere in Canada, I don't care what province it is. If you found that you are not able to get your payroll remittances that you're taking away from your staff actually paid to the CRA, don't feel guilty about it. The CRA tricked you into thinking that you had to do this. It's all deception. When you registered your corporation, you did not know that when you file your first tax return that you're inadvertently signing a contract with the CRA to become an in-trust tax collector for them. They're not paying you for it. You're doing it for the CRA for free. That sucks, man. That really sucks. When you're working for free, it sucks. And all of you out there should be thinking, yeah, you know what? Why am I collecting tax for the CRA? Why am I not getting paid to collect tax on behalf of the Canada Revenue Agency? Think about this. When you're collecting tax from your staff, from your customers, and paying the CRA, the Canada Revenue Agency is not paying you for your time to collect that money. They're not paying you your software expenses to have everything on record. The CRA is not paying for your QuickBooks, or they're not paying for your Simply Accounting or ACPAC or whatever program you're on. They're not paying for that. The CRA is not paying your bookkeeper to keep your books. The CRA is not paying your accountant to do your accounting. The CRA is most certainly not paying your courier fees to ship everything to the CRA. They're not paying for any of that. They're also not paying you for your time where you've got to sit down with a hot cup of coffee and go through paperwork that is not making you money for the purposes of giving them money. And I'm telling you this right now. If I'm sitting down at this desk and I got a hot cup of coffee here and I'm going through paperwork, you better friggin' believe I'm getting paid for it. I'm not doing it for free. I'm not volunteering my time. I'm not giving my skill set to anyone for free. I'm going to be 54 friggin' years old this year. I'm not giving the rest of my life away. I only have 30 years left in my lifespan. Don't think for a second that I work for the Canadian government or any government for that matter. And all of you need to think this way. So we all have to be a little more philosophical when it comes to dealing with our taxes in Canada. So we want to make sure that all of you understand exactly how corporations work. So let's walk it right through. Again, you register a corporation. You can come to me for that. I can get that registered for you in a day, along with a GST or an HST number. And I can also write your corporate bylaws for you if you need those done. And for everybody who wants to hire me, just head over to my website, please, KevinJJohnston.com. Everybody who knows it, please put it in the chat right now for the entire world to see. I greatly appreciate all your help with that. So you get the corporation registered. Now, the first thing that you want to do is you want to go out and get yourself a pair of bank accounts. Now, here's the trick to the game. When we register your corporation for you, you need to be the director for about a week. And we'll also put down another director who you assign. I don't care who it is at all. You're going to take that corporate registration. You're going to go to a federally chartered bank. You're going to say, hi, I'd like to register a corporation. And a federally chartered bank is one of the big boys in Canada, like Royal, Scotia, CIBC, HSBC, National, BMO, TD, Scotia. I think I said Scotia. There's not many of the federal ones, but also go to one of the provincial ones, like a credit union, and open up an account there. After that's done, we are then going to get your name removed as director, and now the CRA can never come at you personally for whatever mistakes that you make in your corporation. How much to register a corporation with me? 1,250 Canadian plus HST, which brings it to $14.12 with tax. And if you want me to write your corporate bylaws for you, which will be lawyer grade, I might add, because I'm very good with the law, it'll be $19.50 in total plus HST. There we are. Okay, now we've got you into a corporation. Now you start doing business. Logo, website, yes, you need all that stuff. Social media, TikTok, absolutely. You want to get all your social media in place, everybody. But while you're doing all this, you've got to start bringing in customers. And your customers, of course, you're going to be charging them HST in Ontario and Newfoundland and a couple of other places, and GST and PST in other provinces. Bring that dough in and pay your staff. Your staff, like I said, if they want to be on payroll, fine. Put them on payroll. But this is where it gets interesting. This is where my 40 years of studying tax law comes into play. If you are not the director of your corporation, you can do whatever you want. Make money, because like I told you, with your brand new numbered corporation and your new GST number, you are not legally obligated to file your first tax return with that corporation. Because if you do, and I recommend that you don't, but if you do, you're signing a contract with the Canada Revenue Agency to say, hi, my name's John, and I'm dumb. I registered a corporation, and I'm going to make money, and I'm going to give it to you. I don't know why. No, that's not what we do. We just don't do the first tax return and pocket the money. What's the CRA going to do? Tell me that I'm wrong? What's the CRA going to do? I've been pestering them and needling them and threatening them, and I'm going to go out and say it, harassing them for 2 years full time. And they haven't done a damn thing to stop me from doing it. Nothing. Because they know that I know the law, and they know that I kind of get off on conflict. And that's the truth. I get off on conflict. I love conflict with the law and with the CRA and with politicians and whatnot. I just absolutely adore it. So when you're hiring me, you're hiring a guy that just can't wait for the fight with those losers. But let's say you don't want to go down that road. Let's just say you do want to pay taxes because you think I'm wrong. Okay. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to put a gun to your head and state that, hey, you got to do it my way. But I will state to you that if we agree that we're going to do it my way, and then you go ahead and do it your way, we have to part ways because I know what I'm doing. And I've had a few clients come to me and we do their taxes and everything's great and we're going to get them all kinds of money back. And then what do? They take these returns that I send to them and they throw them out and they do them their way. And then they get screwed. The CRA screws them because they did them wrong. And they call me saying, oh, well, I was afraid. I threw the taxes out you did, and I sent in mine, and I owe more money now. Can you help me? No, I don't trust you. I got to trust you. You got to trust me, and I got to trust you, right? It's not just a one-way street. Trust is a two-way street. So if you're going to take my tax returns and screw them up because you're afraid, as an adult, come on. We can't do business. There we go. Now, the payroll that I did want to talk to you about, and let's get right into the business side of it now. And I know, like I'm sighing because I do this every day, and it's a lot for you to take in. And I'm not expecting everybody to understand everything I'm saying right off the hop. But if you do have payroll and GST or HST debt, please hear me out. I'm going to change your life. And it's all legal. Payroll is a problem for 9 out of 10 corporations in Canada. You're not paying it to the CRA. You're reporting it to the CRA, but you're not paying it to the CRA. And because you have at some point probably put yourself down as the director of the corporation, they come after you for it personally. The GST and the payroll tax. So, how do you get out of it? Well, you can call your friends and say, oh, what do I do? Your friends are going to say something stupid. Everyone says stupid stuff right off the. Do you know what the stupid thing is that everyone says first? First, not last, first. Oh, go bankrupt, man. You'll get right off the day. Bankrupt's good, boy. Don't do that. If you go corporately bankrupt in Canada, the CRA and the credit card companies and the banks are immediately going to object. Immediately. It's going to cost you 75 grand in lawyer fees, probably up to $150,000 in lawyer fees. A corporate bankruptcy can take 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years with a 0% chance of the corporation being absolved of its debt to the CRA in the way of payroll or in the way of GST. So if your friends ever say go bankrupt, they're not your friend. Just tell them, get out of my house, go away. I'm going to talk to a pro. Anyone who says bankrupt has done no reason. They've heard the word on TV. Their favorite TV character went bankrupt. So they know what bankrupt is. Sometimes they'll say, oh, do a consumer proposal. Okay, you know why that's stupid? Is because you still owe the money. Your credit is screwed. The corporation can no longer operate, and you still owe the money. Why would you do that? We had a gentleman on the show about a month ago who did a consumer proposal. Did you see him? He's broke. He's broke. Completely broke. They busted him completely. So a consumer proposal is even dumber than bankruptcy. Then your stupid friends might say to you, hey, man, just shut the corporation down. They can't do nothing. Yeah, they can, and they will. They will, because if the corporation that you're shutting down had you listed as director and it had GST, HST, and payroll debt on it, they're going to chase you personally. They may not do it that year. They may not do it 2 years later. They may not even do it 5 years later. But at some point, they will. I got some clients who forgot about GST debt from 10 years ago. And the CRA wants it now. Now, I can fix that. That's what I do for a living. I can get rid of that debt. But that is precisely what happens when you just shut the company down. There's no way out of payroll debt, and there's no way out of GST or HST debt in Canada unless you do a full share sale. You sell me your corporation. I love buying corporations. You see, if anybody out there has ever taken a I guess we'll call it an Ivy League school level education on economics, you would know that debt is a commodity. Debt can be sold and traded and bartered and resold and sold again and written off and then sold again and written off again. Debt is a commodity. I love debt. That's why I buy it. So you have payroll debt. What do? You contact me. I buy your corporation. We do a due diligence report because I'd like to know everything about you and your corporation that I'm buying. But the day that we finalize the contract, I own your debt. I get your payroll debt. Even if it's 10 million, it's mine. And your GST and HST debt. I buy the corporation, I get that too. It belongs to me. Now what I do is I contact the CRA saying, hey guys, guess what? I own the corporation now. Chase me. Come get it. You know you're not going to get it. And as soon as they figure out that it's me, they roll their eyes, oh crap, it's Johnston again. And they don't pursue the debt. Isn't that amazing? So that debt that I now have, I can trade it with other corporations. I can sell it to other corporations. I can keep it. I can keep it for myself and write it off as a bad investment. I can keep it and write it off as a capital loss. There's all kinds of things I can do with that debt, but I want it. I want it. I want it. And Melanie's asking, or Malona's asking, why don't they chase you? Because they're terrified of me. Because I'm the only one that files criminal charges against the CRA reps. I'm the only one who's got private investigators hunting them down at home to serve them court papers and put liens on their property. That's why the CRA is terrified of me. That's why they don't chase me when I buy your debt. So sell me your debt. And Ken, you're absolutely incorrect. The officers and directors are never held responsible for any debt that I buy because it's a friggin' share sale. I buy the whole thing. 16-page contract, due diligence report, 5 other contracts that go along with it, and affidavits. And then I report to the CRA. I bought it. Mine. You sign an NDA. You can't talk to them about my corporation because I bought your corporation and made it mine. You're absolutely incorrect, Ken. Whoever told you that lied to you. So that's how you get rid of your payroll debt in Canada. And that is also how you get rid of your HST and GST debt in Canada. And what I will also tell you is if you have other debts like credit cards that are strictly and only in the corporate name, I can take the credit card debt. If you've got bank loans specifically and only in the corporate name, I can take those. If you've got CEBA loan debt and it's not in your personal name, I can take that. CERS and CEWS debt, I can take all that. If there are union dues owed by the corporation that are not guaranteed by your personal name, I can take all that too. You know, last year I took over $42 million of debt. I want $100 million this year. I'm actually halfway there. It's not even June. Think about that. All right. So that is why everything for all of you need to be in a corporation. You want everything in a numbered corporation so you can sell your debt at any given time. Now, for some of you with sole proprietorships out there, I can't buy that because the debt is you. A sole proprietorship is a really bad idea. But I can still do your taxes because it's just like personal taxes, and I can wipe out those debts for you. Now, debt as a commodity, for those who are wondering why I decided to take this on as a career now, is I had a friend of mine. Yeah, he's not a friend of mine anymore because he just kept screwing his life up and dragging me down with it. He came to me, put himself in a lot of debt being a dumbass. He took a mortgage out on his house specifically to buy a cottage and to buy 2 brand new cars. He wanted to live the fast life and didn't have the income to do it. Don't live that life. Buy used cars. Really. If you can't afford a cottage, don't buy one. Yeah. Why do you think you've got the right to be on the beach all summer long if you can't afford it? So he got himself in hot water. And what had happened here is not only did he do that, but he grabbed his wife's credit card and ramped it up to almost $60,000 of debt. Yeah. Now, the credit card company had written it off 7 years earlier. But after 7 years, he got sued by a debt purchasing company. So this company bought the debt from the credit card company, probably for 3 or 4 cents on the dollar, and then sued him for the amount. Now, of course, his wife was an idiot. When the collection agency called saying, "Do you remember your credit card debt?" "Oh, yes, I do. I'm sorry." As soon as you say that on the phone, they reactivate the contract. Have none of you learned anything? When someone says, "Do you remember this debt?" F off, done. Hang up the phone and keep doing it. Then call the cops. My God, why does everyone admit to things? I don't get it. So they chased him in the courts for the debt. And then I had to argue in the court to get it knocked down. And I did. I got it knocked down from $67,000 all the way down to something like $20,000. And I told the guy, all you got to do is make $200 per month payments and get this thing wiped out, okay? The deal that I made was if you make payments straight for 3 straight years, they'll wipe out the rest of the debt. And he couldn't even do that. All right. So I'm friggin' done with people like that. But it got me thinking. If a credit card company can R9 your debt, which means write it off completely, and they do write it off, how could it be sold? And not only how could it be sold as a commodity, how could they sue for that commodity that was already written off and then sold, possibly illegally? And every lawyer I talked to said, well, it's just how it is. It's just how it is. Yeah, it's how it is. I can't stand hearing that. Why is it like that? Why is it like that? Because society accepted it as the status quo. Why is the status quo good? I'm telling you right now, it's not. So I would ask all these lawyers and accountants out there, how is it that debt can be sold by the creditor, but not by the debtor? Why is it that I can rack up a debt and the credit card company can sell it to a third party, but I can't sell it to a third party? And I'm thinking, like, there's an answer out there somewhere. And everyone kept saying, no, you can't. It's just, you can't. Well, it turns out you can. And I've been doing it full time for 2 straight years now, buying corporations that are completely and totally in debt. So everybody, the status quo, I want you to all understand that the reason now that I'm a millionaire is because I do not accept the status quo as reality. I hate the status quo. The status quo is worthless. The average sucks. Mundanity sucks. I'm not interested in a mundane existence. I'm not interested in a mundane and middle-class salary. I am not interested in any of that. I'm interested in being a multi-millionaire, and I'm interested in proving to the world that the status quo is not where you want to be, and you cannot exist there if you want to be wealthy. So getting back to payroll, if you've got payroll debt with your corporation, sell it to me. Sell it to me. I want it. You get to walk away from all of your debt and start over. Now, for those of you out there who have payroll in general, and let's just say, for example, you are up to date on your payroll. I want to talk about what payroll is. So we chatted today. I had kind of an argument with ChatGPT because ChatGPT is good. It's not perfect. It's good. It does cool things. I mean, I asked it today, for example, to draw me a floor plan for a condominium. And I told it that I had exactly 60 foot long by 30 foot wide to play with. I said, design something cool for maximum use of space. And it actually gave me floor plans. ChatGPT can do that. Did you know that? Well, I said, ChatGPT, tell me in layman's terms, because I understand it, but tell me in layman's terms what payroll is. So let's go through the slides here now. I'm going to read them to you for TikTok and Instagram, but you can see it here on DLive and Facebook and X and everything else. Payroll deductions required in Canada. Now, I don't like the word required, but here we go. Canada Pension Plan, CPP, is deducted from an employee's gross pay. Employer must match 100% of what the employee pays and is required for employees aged 18 to 69. if not already receiving a Canada Pension Plan retirement. Okay, there we go. 2, employment insurance, also known as EI, is deducted from an employee's gross pay. The employer pays 1.4 times the amount that the employee contributes. That is true. And EI gives employees access to benefits if they lose their job or go on maternity leave. Yeah, that used to be true and is not anymore. All right, save your questions for the second hour, everyone. Stay and ask me questions in the second hour. The third slide here says federal and provincial income tax these deductions are based on the employee's total income and TD1 forms withheld from each paycheck and remitted to the CRA. Well, it doesn't have to be. Employers choose to do this and varies by province and employees' personal tax credits. Okay, so you might have medical credits. You might have mental illness credits. You might have old age caregiving credits. There's all kinds of things there. And then next, we've got other deductions in brackets, if applicable. Union dues, group health or dental plan premiums, retirement plan contributions like RRSPs and pension plans. Don't ever get an RRSP in Canada. It's a friggin' joke. And then wage garnishments. And interestingly enough, it says in brackets, if court ordered. All right. So if you're getting garnished, you better tell your boss, I want to see the court order and I want to see it now. Because if they can't produce it, sue the boss. There you go. And finally, employers' total cost includes gross employees' wages, Canada Pension Plan corporate match at 100%, employment insurance corporate match at 140%, and then any benefits or employer paid plans. Now, what does that mean for everybody? Well, based on what I said, with your income in the province of Ontario, as an example, you're paying almost $5,800 per year per employee in Canada Pension Plan and employment insurance. On top of, I'm sorry, it's been a long day. On top of all the deductions that you already do from your staff, which is ridiculous. So in essence, for every $100,000 that you would be paying to a staff member over the course of a year for salary, you are pretty much giving the government almost $30,000. And what do they do with it? They don't build roads. They don't build power lines. They don't build nuclear plants. They don't build hydroelectric dams. They don't do any of that. They give it away to other countries. And you're all thinking, well, I think I still got to pay tax. Really? Don't I? It's for the greater good. The CRA will tell you that it goes into roads. No, it doesn't. The CRA will tell you that it goes into infrastructure. Oh, no, it does not. They'll tell you that it goes into all kinds of great projects for the country. No, it doesn't. Remember, I used to be a journalist full time. I went to Bangladesh, Thailand, Myanmar, Eritrea, Ethiopia, South Sudan, places that other people are terrified to go. And I can tell you that Canadian dollars are going into the murder, the mass murder of Buddhists, Hindus, and Christians and Jainists all over the world. I saw this for myself. Okay? It's disgusting. I don't even want to bring it up because, 8 years later, I still see the images in my head of dead children all over the place that the Canadian government paid for. So don't ever tell me that we have to pay tax and it's for the greater good. No, it's not. It's for death and disease and pestilence and murder. It's horrible what Canada does worldwide, especially with your tax dollars. So I'm going to put another slide up here for you. All right, and here we go. If an employee is making a paltry $52,000 a year, bi-weekly, Canada Pension Plan is $110.99 every 2 weeks. Employment insurance is $32.80 per week. But then the employer has to match $110.99 on the CPP and an additional 40% on EI. So it's $45.92 every 2 weeks. So here's what we do for you with payroll. You hire us to be your payroll company. You send us the source deductions, but you keep the CPP 100% and you keep the 140% EI. It's yours. You send us the rest and we pay your staff for you on your pay cycle. And we do the T4s and the T4As and the T5s at the end of the year. So you never again get stuck in a payroll debt issue. How does that sound? So what does that mean, everybody? Well, what that means is right here, if you have an employee making 52 grand, then you are saving $4,079 on that employee for the year. If you've got 10 employees at that salary, that's $40,790 that you're saving per year. Can everybody hear me okay, first off, on TikTok? Let me know if you can hear me. If someone says I'm muted, I certainly hope I am not. All right, let me know. Can everybody hear me? Good, thank you. Now, if you've got 100 employees, then you're saving $407,900 a year. If my corporation, Canmore Payroll Solutions, services, my mistake, is doing your taxes for you and doing your payroll for you. Do you imagine that? You give away if you've got 100 staff who make less than 60 grand a year, you are giving away $408,000 a year for nothing at all. And everyone save your questions. We're going to start Q&A in about 15 minutes. Now we go to an employee making 100 grand per year. On biweekly, the employee gets deducted $220.84 for CPP, Canada Pension Plan, and $63.08 for employment insurance. But the employer has to match another $220.84 and $88.31 on the EI. So that means if my corporation is doing your payroll and you get to pocket that money, you're saving $5,507 per staff member per year. If you've got 10 employees, that's $55,000 you're saving. If you've got 100 employees, that is $550,700 you are saving per year. If my corporation is doing your payroll for you. Isn't that amazing? And the CRA is going to contact me saying, hey, we want to get paid. And I'll say, no problem. Make me an offer I can't refuse. They'll say, well, the Minister of Finance says that we can't make deals. And I'll say, the Minister of Finance absolutely makes deals because he's made more than 30 with me already. The Minister of Finance will make phone calls to me once in a while and say, Kevin, we got this client here. We're willing to forgive the penalties and the interest and so on. But if I know that I can get the tax bill to zero, I'll say, thank you very much, but no deal. No deal. We'll just submit the tax returns and you can duke it out in the courts. So yeah, the CRA makes deals. The CRA, do not be fooled by anything they say. Everything they say to you is a lie. Everything they say is a lie. Mr. Mathieu, if you've got 50 employees, let me take over your payroll. And I just told you right now how much money you're going to save. Looks like with 50 staff, probably save about $260,000 a year. Yeah, amazing. Amazing. Okay, so then Malona asks, so you don't pay the employer's portion of the CRA? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. If the CRA is willing to make a deal, they get paid. If the CRA wants 100%, they don't get paid. They negotiate with me. As I told all of you at the beginning of this show, the CRA is terrified of me. They make deals with me, and they're doing it every single day. You can do the same thing. Now, my knowledge base helps. I've been studying this craziness for 40 years. And all of the experience that I've got in the courts and duking it out with police in the courts and the Crown attorneys and, oh man, the judges and everyone else. I got a lot of experience in the courts, a lot. So come to me and take advantage of my knowledge base. Let's do this. All right. And Marwan says, if you don't pay the bill, they will audit. Yeah. And what if they do? I get rid of the auditor because auditors are not cops. I tell the auditor, we decline. Thank you for your kind offer, but you're officially trespassed. You are banned from my client's house, office, church, gym, their children's schools, the park across the road. If you show up at any of these places, we are calling 911 and reporting a dangerous stalker. I told everyone, but how many times I got to say it? Auditors are losers. They're not cops. Losers. And what do you do with losers? You ban them from your property, your business, and your entire life. And you know what, people? Don't tell me what the rules and the laws are. Don't come in my room here and tell me what the laws are. None of you who are criticizing what I'm doing here know anything about taxes. You haven't done the 40 years of research I have. You certainly don't have the experience of fighting the CRA like I do every single day. So careful with what you tell me. Where am I located? I have offices in Mississauga, Windsor, Ontario, Edmonton, Alberta, Lethbridge, Alberta, Calgary, Alberta, Kelowna, BC, and down here in Panama City. And I now have another satellite office in, ready for this, Playa del Carmen in Mexico, because Canadians are absolutely everywhere. All right, Marwan, they only audit weak people. That's right. Weak people allow themselves to be audited. Weak people talk to the police. Weak people beg. I do not beg anyone. I make demands, and I'm willing to back them up using every single solitary law at my disposal to do so. And if the law fails me, then I'm going to take it to the next level. You got to be brave in this world. You got to be a monster, an absolute monster. Sister Shine Shop. My office in Mississauga is in Streetsville, but right now I'm in Panama City, so I won't be there. Right now I am doing all my interviews and whatnot in the chat room. Okay, and we got to get rid of this troll here. Sorry, C, but you got to go. We don't need you here. Yeah, we don't address the trolls here. We just kick them out of here. No, I do not have an office in Montreal, but you'll love this, Quebec. Revenue Quebec they're like Nazis, man. They are horrible. They're worse than the IRS. So what will happen for anybody in Quebec is, I tell you all, live in Quebec where the hot women are, and live in Quebec where the good wine is, but don't do business out of a Quebec corporation. Instead, what we do is we get you an Ontario driver's license, we get you an Ontario address at a house, not a mailbox, and we utilize your Ontario corporation, and you do all of your billing out of the Ontario Corp, even though you live in Quebec. And Revenue Quebec doesn't like me very much because, Revenue Quebec, when I do this for Quebecois, what happened is they keep more money, and then Revenue Quebec, they don't have no more money to buy cocaine and hookers, So Revenue Quebec can kiss my ass. I despise you, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. It is not illegal for a Quebecois to make the brazen and brash statement that they live in Ottawa or Cornwall or Toronto or Windsor, Ontario, or anywhere else. So for all the Quebecers out there, if you want to do business out of Ontario and keep 100% of what you make, I'm your guy. I'm totally your guy. So to recap, what we've talked about now for the last hour is that if your corporation has payroll debt, sell it to me. I'm going to take all that payroll debt off your hands, and the CRA can chase me for it. If you've got HST debt, credit card debt, bank loan debt, sell me your corporation. I want that debt. I am a debt broker. I buy it. I trade it. I sell it. I write it off. I move it. I sell it again. I do whatever I want with your debt because once it's my corporation, the debt belongs to me. And if you want me to do your payroll so you can save over $5,000 per staff member per year, we don't charge service fees for our payroll services. You, in fact, get paid by us because we are not collecting from you corporate matching, and we make all of our money on the investments that we do. That's how we do it. I make money on, I'm very good at investing, by the way. My investments all make money. So I know how to take money, move money, ship money around. This is what I do for a living, everybody. This is what I do. And I'm eternally grateful for all of you for coming in here. I will now begin addressing questions. So Jonathan's asking corporate only. Well, I can buy a corporation in a share sale and all the corporate debt comes with it when I buy that. But I don't have any way to buy personal debt because your social insurance number is attached to you, the individual human being, and I cannot buy human beings. That is called indentured servitude and or slavery, which was banned back in the 1800s. So no, I cannot do that, but I can redo your taxes and kill your tax debt that way. How much do I buy your debt for? Or sorry, your debt-ridden corporation for? 10% of the value of your entire debt. And you get to walk away and start life over. Should we do subcontractors instead of employees? Well, if I'm going to do your payroll, it's cheaper for you to have your staff on payroll and let me take care of it. If I'm not doing your payroll, it's cheaper and better for you to have your staff write you invoices instead. So there you go. Okay, Tiff is asking, qualify for the rural supplement. I'm sorry, does who qualify? I need you to expand that conversation, question a bit, please. It's been 2 years as a contractor for long haul mover. Haven't done taxes. What are your thoughts? That's good. The more years you have not done taxes, the better it is for you and for me because your tax load is going to be what's called estimated earnings, which is completely legal. And the tax bill at that point is going to be whatever you and I say it is. So get a hold of me if you haven't done your taxes. I will get those fixed. I have an RRSP. What should I do with it now? We covered this 3 shows ago, but I'll answer that question now for you. The registered retirement savings plan was introduced. I remember being like grade 6 or grade 7. We're talking the 80s when this stupid thing came out. It sucked then, and it sucks now. The Canadian registered retirement savings plan, what they said to you is that if you put money into it, you'll pay less tax. But they didn't tell you that they would tax it between 38 and 48% when you cash it out in retirement. They didn't tell you that. So if you have RRSPs, GICs, RIFs or LIFs in Canada, and you want to cash them out, let me know because I have to put a strategy into place 2 weeks to 2 months, somewhere in that range, before we cash them out. But if we do it my way in the following tax year, I get you back 100% of the taxes they took from your RRSP or your GIC or LIF or RIF. There you go. What about OSAP? If you sue the province for a tort fraud, they'll just drop the OSAP because what they do is they don't explain to you what OSAP really is when you take it. It is fraudulent. It's fraudulent that they tell you you can take a loan to go to school because they tell you you have to go to school. And here's a loan to go to school because we told you. But you have to pay this loan off all the way into your 40s and 50s. No, you don't. You sue OSAP and you tell them that you were under duress at the time and that it's a fraudulent contract. So you sue them for $10 million. They'll just drop the OSAP. You drop the lawsuit. You win. You know, I tried explaining this one to my ex-wife saying, look, stop freaking paying this OSAP shit. Put the money you're wasting on OSAP payments into our children's trust funds for the future. No, I don't want to go to jail. That stupid shit. When people say that stupid shit to me, I get pissed. I really do get angry. How dare an adult speak like that? But let's just imagine for a second that you did go to prison for not paying OSAP. Let's just say, how long would the jail sentence be? A couple of days? A couple of weeks? If I had $1 million of debt, let's just say, and I found out I got to go to prison for 40 days for that debt, see ya. Bye. Give me the orange jumpsuit. Thank you. Because that's $1 million that I could give to my kids. And all I got to do is rot in a prison cell for 40 days. No problem. Why do you all think like this? Hey, jail. That's selfish, by the way. That's really selfish thinking. Some of you are not so fine people. Most of you are great people. Thanks for being here. But I want to say this to everyone. When you are making decisions and you're basing those decisions on fear, you're actually robbing your children and grandchildren. You're taking money from them. I know it's your money and you don't have to give it to them. But you see, I've got a different look on that. I want to build a family legacy. I want there to be money in the family. I want there to be a big house or a big manor that will be in the family for generations to come. That's what I feel my duty is as an alpha male living today. So I'm not giving a penny of my money to the Canadian government, regardless of what branch of government it is, because I'm stealing from my grandchildren and my family legacy, and I'm taking from my family name by being afraid of the Canadian government and giving money to them. So when you're a coward, you're screwing the whole family line. And it's selfish to have fear, because do you know who you're thinking about when you've got fear? You, and you alone. And I have no respect for adults who feel fear. None. I do not respect it at all. Don't expect me to respect it, and don't try to talk me into respecting you for it. And don't tell me sob stories about, I was in the dark, I was a kid, and I got locked in a closet for 6 hours. And so I got the living crap beat out of me by not one, but like 10 different bullies when I was a kid. So do you care? No. Should you? No. My old man was a very violent guy. He beat the crap out of me every week with a belt, locked me in a closet. Do you care? No. Should you care? No. Should those experiences that I had as a kid affect my decision-making now in business? My father's not even alive anymore. Hasn't been for, like 15 years. Am I supposed to sit there and say, my dad did this, and I'm now going to make really bad decisions because of what happened to me in 1977? Would any of you watching this right now have any respect for me whatsoever, or even listen to what I'm saying, if I was making decisions right here in front of you based on me getting my ass spanked in 1977? Of course you wouldn't. You would all log out right now and ignore me forever. And that's exactly what you should do. So this fear garbage that all of you have inside your heads, you put that there. Think about that. Do I have to file personal and corporate income tax every year? No. No, the only time the word mandatory shows up, everybody, in the Excise Tax Act or the Income Tax Act is they want you to do a tax return. So put your name and social insurance number at the top, sign the bottom, send it in. There you go. And you can still wait on that one. I still haven't done my personal taxes since what? 2001, I think, and corporate tax since 2000. Why would I? They're not paying me to do that. So no, I'm not doing my tax returns. Why would I? Eunice Lacey says, let's say I earn 80K and 30K in taxes is withheld at the source. I'm an employee in Montreal. Did you factor in medical expenses, educational expenses, legal expenses, accounting expenses, part-time T2125 form expenses? Like there's about 20 different expenses that I could put down on your tax bill to wipe that down. I could knock your 80K salary down to about $25,000 of earnings, which would be about a $2,000 tax bill per year. Everyone's afraid to put their expenses in. Why? Why are you afraid to do that? You're allowed to. They say so. So do it. Can you help get rid of rent subsidy repayment? Rent? Well, I would need to know what province and what all the terms and conditions are of that. Rent subsidy payments are complex. They're usually at the provincial and sometimes even municipal or even regional levels. I need to know more about the contract before it. There. So Rowdy says, so Rowdy, when I buy your corporation from you, it's $1. I buy it for $1. I get everything: website, trademark, logo, what else? Assets, and all your debt. And what you're doing is you're buying back your assets, logo, trademark, website, social media from me for 10% of the value of your debt. It's a legal transaction, completely 100% legal. I buy company, you buy your stuff back. I keep debt, I trade debt somewhere else. That's it. It takes anywhere between 3 hours and 3 days, depending on how fast you get me your stuff. Correct. So if you owe $1 million, the bill to me is 100,000, and you get to walk away from the 900K that's left over. Should I put personal money in my corporation and buy a house in the corporation's name? Absolutely. You should have a numbered corporation with extremely well-written corporate bylaws and put the entire house into that corporation, but no other assets, just the house, and it never does business. And that's the same thing as having a trust, which is the trust is 40 grand to set up, but a numbered corporation, if you get me to do it, is 1250 Canadian. There you are. No problem, Mark Pichet. You get a hold of me anytime. User 1999 says, first time I see you, can you explain, because I have a company, but I'm not using it and I have GST debt. Okay, so if you've got a corporation, you might need to revive it at the registry in the province in which you do business. You've got to call the GST office, toll-free number, have them revive the GST number and sell me the company, and you get to walk away from the debt. That's simple. How would I go about doing that with OSAP? Killing the debt? File a lawsuit against it. Paralegals are cheap to fill out lawsuits. You can sue OSAP for 10 million, 50 million for tort fraud, and look for case law at canley.org and find out which cases you can quote on there to make sure that you're getting their attention. And believe me, they're going to realize right away how expensive it's going to be to go to court to fight this thing. They'll wipe out the OSAP debt. That's your term and condition. Don't the CRA do a mandatory audit if your corporation does not? No. First off, there's no mandatory audits. It's all random. And secondly, you don't cooperate with them. You call me, Kevin, I got an auditor give me some lip and he wants to come to my company. Okay. I jump on the phone. Hey, Mr. Auditor, thank you very much for this golden opportunity to do nothing except give you files on my client. We decline. And you're banned. You're banned from talking to my client's home, office, church, park, whatever. I get rid of auditors. They are not cops. They have no authority. When I tell them to get lost, they got to go. All right, there we go. So everybody, I would state that you got to talk to me, and you got to talk to me alone on all these issues, because nobody else is going to do this. Accountants out there are complete and total cowards. They will not do a damn thing for you. How do you get your tax return without filing your taxes? Well, if you haven't filed your taxes, you don't have one. We will do one for you. That's how it works. Then you have your tax return. What can you do if you try a proposal to the CRA and they reject it? Well, you can file a lawsuit against the CRA. That slows it down because they have to address the lawsuit. You invoke Clause 7 of the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights, which means that everything that you owe, or they say that you owe, is on hold. Your entire tax bill is suspended whilst Clause 7 is invoked. That is what we do. We invoke it, and then we object to their decision, and then we take them to tax court. There's all kinds of ways to get this to work. If a corporate debt is personally guaranteed by its director, are you still able to purchase the debt? Well, that would be like a bank loan or a credit card. No. If you personally guaranteed it, no, I can't take it. Christine, could you make a phone call to you know who? They're calling me right now. Thank you very much. Tell them to stop calling me. I'm freaking live. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. By the way, if you're friends of mine and you're calling me during my live show, I'm just going to block your phone number forever. Don't phone me when I'm live. Everyone knows for the last 10 years, I'm live on Tuesdays. God, man, have some class, people, especially if you're in my personal life. So yeah, Sam K, if you've personally guaranteed it, no. But if it's not personally guaranteed, when I buy the corporation, I get the whole thing. I haven't paid taxes in 6 years. It's important to file. Well, they say it is. I don't think it is. But if you want me to file 6 years worth of taxes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I'll make sure that you don't pay any income tax. Get a hold of me on my website, everybody. By the way, do not communicate with me through direct messaging. Don't do it through Facebook Messenger. Don't do it through DMs here on TikTok. Do not do it through DMs here on Instagram. No DMs here on Kick. Please go to my website and use the contact page. It is the only way to reach me. I don't have time for social media DMs, unfortunately. I wish I did, but I truly don't. Thank you for that. What if there's a mortgage on what? Your house? Oh, I can move your house anywhere if you got a mortgage on it. That's no problem. How do I grow my business if I don't file taxes and have proof of income for loans? Private lenders, man. They're usually only 1 point above prime these days. Imagine this. Imagine you got to keep every penny that you made for your entire adult life. You'd never need a mortgage. You could pay cash for your house before you're 35. So if you're going to keep 100% of what you make and I'm your tax guy, you don't need the banks. All right. Can I sell you a dissolved corporation? Yes, Steny, you can, but you have to go to the company's branch or the service branch or the registry branch, revive your corporation, and then sell it to me. Once it's revived, I can buy it. So you got to revive the corporation and call the GST office and revive the GST number. Appreciate that. Okay. When you incorporated a business in Ontario, filing your first annual tax return is mandatory? No. They say it is. It's not. There's nothing in the Excise Tax Act or the Income Tax Act or the law that says you have to file your first tax return. What they do is they say that to frighten you into doing it. Whenever you register a corporation anywhere in Canada, you always get an email from the province that you registered it in, which says you have to do your first tax return. No, you don't. At all. Ignore that. My God. Keep your money, dude. Keep your money. Do you have people I can talk to that you've done this with? Yes, yeah, there are. We've got a few folks you could talk to, but I would do it closed circuit. So we'd have to do it in my chat room. I do not give my clients' information to anybody. Yes, we have cops as clients too. I don't give their information to anybody. You guys know I'm not a fan of cops and the government and in general, but I even have 2 CRA people as clients. I'm not telling you who they are. So we got to be careful with that. But yes, some of my clients will voluntarily speak to you. We've already done that before. What does it cost to file a lawsuit? It's different province to province. Minimum 105, maximum 250. Can we change personal business into a corporation? Yes, we can. That's complex work, but I can do it. And I do that for my clients. Brexit says, I filled out your contact form for selling you my business. Is there a better way to contact me? Christine, somebody named Brexit just filled out the form. Could you reply to them right now, please? Just say hi. They want to sell their corporation. Yeah, so Brexit, if you filled out in the last, say, 15, 20 minutes, Christine's going to hit you up right now. Make sure you used my contact form, though, please. Is my contact info in my bio? Yes, but I think it's actually the wrong website. My name, KevinJJohnston.com. Could everybody please put my KevinJJohnston.com domain name in the chat? I appreciate that. Is the CEBA loan personal if you have an incorporated business? Well, that would depend on you and what contract you signed at the time that you took the CEBA loan out. If it was only corporate, then I can take that away from you. When you sell me the corp, I get it. If you put your personal name on it, we can sign affidavits stating that it was only for the corporation, but there's only a 50-50 chance that it works, that they won't chase you for it. So I'd have to look more in depth with what you did there. Okay, so Evan Weller, before you set up a meeting with me, you want to talk to clients of mine. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give anybody's phone numbers out to anyone. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not just your tax guy. I am also acting as your legal agent. I am not a licensed lawyer, but it doesn't change the fact that if I'm being hired by you, I am also acting in a client solicitor privilege relationship with you, which means I can never testify against you and I can never give personal information out. So if the cops call me up saying, hey, we want to investigate one of your clients. Yeah. And so I'm not telling you anything. And if they say, well, we're going to subpoena you to be a witness in court. So then I get on the stand. I say, Your Honor, I am in currently a client solicitor privilege relationship with Mr. Jones here, and I cannot testify against them. May I please be excused? And the judge will say, yes, you may. Boom. So no, I'm not giving anyone's personal information away. But we can set up a meeting where you can talk to them in the chat room, and that'll be the ones that volunteer their time to come in. I'm about to file my corporate taxes. Haven't done a T4 to my contractors. Should I do it or should I not? Oh, okay. Overtax Canadian. If you have not done your T4 slips, let me do them under my corporation and we'll talk about what the price could be. I'd have to quote that one for you when I look at the file, but it'll be cheaper than going to a CPA. Trust me when I say that. Hit me up on my website, please. If I put my house on the corporate, I don't have to pay property. No, it doesn't work that way. If only it worked that way. No. If you have a house, whether it's owned by you or a numbered corporation, everybody, yeah, you got to pay property tax, but you don't have to pay capital gains tax or any other taxes on the property, right? Property tax in Canada is the only tax you got to pay. Everything else you can dodge. Everything. What is your website? My name, KevinJJohnston.com. Malona says, I need you for a consultation for my small corporation and also my sole proprietorship. Okay, so I think what you're talking about there is we have to merge the sole proprietor taxes with your corporation so I can take the taxes away from you. Yes, that's legal. And yes, that can be done. And yes, I do that. AM Precision. So if my corporation does not pay GST to the CRA, can I still collect GST from my customers or should I no longer charge? Yeah, you can. And you can sit on it. What I tell everybody is this. If you're going to play this game, collect GST from your customers. Put it in a separate corporate bank account and let it sit there. And if the CRA comes calling for it, we can make a deal with them. If they never come calling for it, invest it in something else. I don't know, Bitcoin, house, gold, silver. There you are. $250,000 to file a lawsuit? No, $250. There we are. Rick asks, am I still in Calgary? Rick, I'm everywhere. I'm nowhere. I'm around the corner. I'm on the other side of the world. I'm where I need to be at any given moment. I'm running for mayor of Calgary, however, so I hope I can count on your vote. My name, everybody, Kevin J, middle initial J. Last name, JOHNSTON.com. Overtax Canadian. So Overtax Canadian, you want to sell me a corporation, is that right? If so, go to my contact form on the website right now and just say you want to sell me a corporation in the subject line. We'll get back to you right away. Anyone can act as a corporation legal agent. One does not have to be a lawyer or an accountant. Correct. Correct. Okay, just checking your questions here, folks. Okay, so can you buy corporate debt if it's not active, if the CRA's put a lien on your property? Excellent question. So if you've got a corporation that's currently not active and you want to sell it to me and get rid of all your debt, okay, cool. So reactivate it at the company's branch or the service branch or wherever it might be. And once it's reactivated, get your GST number reactivated by calling the GST office, sell it to me, and then you are no longer responsible for that debt. And then I contact the CRA and let them know that they have no choice but to release the writ or the lien on your property because the debt's not yours. The debt's mine. And I have no assets in my name anywhere in the world. So they're not taking anything from me. Never say never. I'm a small trucking company and the CRA has given me a run for GST. They owe me for the last 2 years. Oh, run around, you mean? All right. So you just have to have me redo your taxes and I'll resubmit them. And eventually they will give you back your GST. But they're giving you a runaround because the CRA right now is broke. They're broke. They don't have money to give back to people, which is why you should not be given the money in the first place. All right. All right. Let's have a look at your comments here in Facebook. The Modern Canadian from X. I don't see how not filing a tax return isn't evasion. There's no law that says you have to fill out a tax return. There's no punishment for it. So it's not evasion. If there's no law that says you have to do it, then you are not evading the law. Modern Canadian also asks, do you help with moving my business to another country and with all the capital gains and transferring assets? Oh, God, yeah. If I'm your tax guy, man, you're never paying any capital gains taxes. If you do it right, there's no such thing as a capital gain. My God. All right. User 1999. If anybody is submitting anything to do with buying your corporation or me taking over your payroll, we will get back to you within 24 hours. Not a problem. And my link is in the bio, but the link in the bio here actually goes to the wrong website. It goes to my old one. My new one is my name, KevinJJohnston.com. There you go. Sandra, can I sell my personal primary home to my corporation without selling it at market value? Sandra, you don't sell your house. You just transfer it. It's like $1,500 at a lawyer's office. Transfer. That's all. Just add the numbered corporation and remove you. And that's it. You never sell your house to yourself. You just transfer it. Completely legal. Ev Bomber says, PST froze my accounts and took $95,000 more than I owed from over assessments. Now they're auditing me. Okay, so Ev Bomber, I will cancel the audit. I will accuse the auditor of theft and committing fraud. We will then redo your taxes and I'll get you that money back. That's what I do for a living. FC, if you want to sell me your company, hit me on my website, KevinJJohnston.com. Does this really work? Hell yes, it does. I researched this for 40 years. I finally figured it out about 2 years ago and started dealing with it. Okay, so Grassroots says, I booked it before you changed it now. Is that going to be a problem? Sorry, Grassroots, I don't understand the question. Could you rephrase it, please? So AM Precision says, yes, I'm right. There are a few ways to evade paying any capital gains taxes due to the sale of the business. Yeah, okay. Well, but I got to be your tax guy for that. That's just how that works. Oh, Grassroots, you booked a call before we changed the site? Okay. Well, then we honor the old price. It's no problem. Don't worry about it. We're all good here. Full View Design. Hi, Kevin. How many corporations have you purchased to date? It's got to be about 105 now. Christine, what are we, like 100? 105, somewhere in there. Corporations that we bought. Yeah. Somewhere in that range. If I said anywhere between 95 and 105, I would be pretty close. So yeah, a lot. And we've made pretty good money doing it. Okay. Bobon Om is asking, is it the same for taxes on crypto? Here's the deal with crypto. They have no way of knowing you have it unless you tell them. So never tell them anything at all about what's going on with your crypto, your gold, your silver, your stocks, your bonds, your debentures, your mutual funds, your Florida vacation properties. Shh, say nothing. The CRA is crypto stupid. They have no idea what it is or even how to tax it. But if you keep your mouth closed, you get to keep everything. Where all of you lose your money is when you tell the CRA what you make. Is there a minimum amount of corporate debt you're interested in? Well, no, I'll take any debt, but the minimum charge is $10,000. And the reason being is the legal fees are really high. There's a lot of legal work that goes into buying a corporation like this. So if you owe 60 grand, the fee is 10. If you owe 100 grand, the fee is 10 because it's 10% of the entire debt, minimum $10,000. But yeah, we'll take it. Malona, I want to show you all my personal taxes and finances. I want you to be my tax investment guy. Count me in. That's what we do. Kevin, can I keep my equipment if you buy my company debt? Yes. So Rides Dad, you sell me your entire corporation in a share sale, which means I get your assets and I get your social media. I get your trademark. I get everything. But you are my trustee. You got to hold all that stuff safe because you get the first and only right of refusal to purchase it back, which you do for 10% of the value of your debt. So you sell me everything and I sell you back your assets. All done in a day, one single solitary day. My goal is to make money. I don't want your stuff. I don't want your cars. I don't want your trucks, your boats, your hammers, your screwdrivers, your stethoscopes. I don't want anything. I've lived a stupid, crazy life, okay? And I've been extremely wealthy twice, and I've been extremely broke twice. And this is my third time being extremely wealthy. And what I can tell you is I'm living life wealthy this time without stuff. I don't want stuff, all right? My existence is a desk, a laptop, a bunch of ring lights, a cell phone, 2 couches and a bed. And that's about it. I'm happy without stuff. I don't want your crap. I don't. I want you to pay me for my time to get the job done. And I want you to carry on with your life with your stuff. And there we are. Wealthy peasant, can they not see your bond earnings and interest earnings from your bank? Only if your bank cooperates with them and only if you give them permission to give the information away. But here's my question. So what? So what if they do? So what if the CRA happens to come across your Facebook page and finds out you had a garage sale? So what? Are you going to tell them? It's not like they are cops. And if they ask you questions, you hire me and I get on the phone with them saying, hey, we have nothing to say. Leave my client alone. We'll get you the tax returns, and then you're going to do them for us as quickly as you possibly can. That's it. All kinds of. If you answer one question to anybody in government, it always leads to another question. So why? Why bother? A cop asks you, where are you going? I'm going home. Oh, well, where are you coming from? My friend's place. Who's your friend? John. What's his last name? Smith. What's his address? 123 John Street. Oh, what were you doing there? Playing video games. Did you have anything to drink at John's house? Did you have any drugs tonight? Hey, no, officer, I don't answer questions. Call my lawyer. CRA, I don't answer questions. Call KevinJJohnston. He's my legal agent. Never answer questions. You are not obligated to answer anyone's questions ever. Stop it. I want to move to Panama. How can I do that? Oh, man. Come down and check it out for yourself. I'll introduce you to my immigration lawyer. He'll take care of you. And you can become a Panamanian resident in 6 weeks, just like that. Don't you have to disclose your investment when you fill out the forms with trade? Who told you that? Who told you that? You don't have to say, you don't even have to put your real name on that piece of paper. You don't have to say anything. The only people that you're disclosing anything to when you're selling a corporation are the buyers. Now, the only time that changes is if it's a publicly traded corporation. Thank you for the Elvis hat. I appreciate that. If you're selling a corporation and it trades on the stock market, then everything has to be divulged. But if it's a privately held, privately owned, privately run corporation, you only have to divulge information to the buyers and the sellers, and that's it. Okay, over Tax Canadian. I sent an email to you or Sandy. My business paid out to contractors $700K this year. Okay, over Tax Canadian. Get a hold of me on my personal website, KevinJJohnston.com, and we're going to talk. Just put down corporation or put down, oh, thanks for the hat, or put down payroll, put down whatever you need to in the subject line, and we'll get a hold of you within 24 hours. But I'll try to say this again. Bobon Ohm says, yes, but on an application of the platform, they make you sign for government tax. Oh, sorry, folks. If you're trading in crypto, and you're using a Canadian exchange like BitBuy or WonderFi or any of that stuff, of course, they're going to make you fill out the forms. That's why I don't deal with Canadian trading agencies. I use Crypto.com. I use Kraken. I use Binance. Oh, man. Trust Wallet. All of them. Thanks for the shades. Woohoo. Trust Wallet. I use any of those. I'm not using Canadian Bitcoin or crypto exchanges because they're idiots. They all cooperate with FinTrack. Crazy. By the way, everybody, we're only at 22,000 likes. Come on, we can do better than that. Let's get to 50,000 likes. Everyone watching on TikTok, double fingers, 2 fingers. Let's get those hearts flying up. If you're on Rumble, let's hit the thumbs up button, please, everybody. Would absolutely love to get that rocking. Please, thank you. Oh, look at that. Thanks for the cowboy hat. Thank you, Mary. Greatly appreciate that. Okay. So now, alrighty. Let's have a quick look here. More questions. What's the benefit of changing the corporate director to Mickey Mouse? Well, I like Bugs Bunny better. He's cooler, but what's the advantage? Is that the CRA can only chase you, the director, for debts the corporation has if they know who the director really is. So why would you tell the CRA who you are? No, the director is not you. It's any fictional character at all. Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, Peter Parker. Man, remember how about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Donatello, Michelangelo, Raphael. Who's the other one? I'm missing one. And the rat. What was the rat's name? Pick one. I don't care. Comic book person, fictional character, actor, historical figure. It doesn't matter as long as it's not you who's the director. So WDY, Lake Dave, you need my help? Get a hold of me, man. I'm in. Can I be your accountant, Tony? Absolutely. Hit me up on my website, please. Okay, when I log into my CRA account, they see my interest income. Well, somebody told them that. Do you know who that would be? Maybe your last accountant. In your CRA account, and I know the answer is no, but the question I have is, do they see your interest from today? And the answer is no. Somebody told them what your interest was in previous years. That's all that it is. Universal says, I have $175,000 to pay in HST and payroll. I want to buy that from you. So at $175,000, that's a paltry $17,500 for me to take all that debt away from you. Get a hold of me right away. We can do it in less than 3 days. What do I think about tax-free savings accounts? I think they're crap. I think they're stupid. I think you should have Bitcoin instead. I think you should have gold and silver instead. Then you've also got stocks. Well, so long as you're trading stocks outside of Canada, cool. If you know what you're doing in the stock market, awesome. But don't use any Canadian exchanges because they tax you. All right? It's ridiculous. I'm on crypto.com and they ask for government tax. Okay, Bon Bonhomme, they asked me for my tax information. I stated that I'm a Canadian citizen living in Panama and here's my passport and that's all you're going to get. And they completely accepted it. That's it. That's all they wanted was passport and a phone number because crypto.com only works on your phone. So I gave them my phone number. It really is that simple. Kevin, do I have to claim disability tax? My stupid advocate saying I need to claim it. No, listen, everybody, why do you all think you got to claim these things? No, stop claiming things. My God. No, you don't have to declare that at all. Okay, so here's a question. This one comes up a lot. Is it true the CRA charges you when you leave the country? Absolutely not. That is CBC probably perpetuated that lie. No, there's no exit tax in Canada. No, the CRA cannot block you from leaving the country. No, they have no access to your driver's license or your passport. Absolutely not. No. How does buying work? Get a hold of me on my website. Tell me you've got a corporation that you want to sell. I'll look at it. I'll tell you, I want to buy it. We send you over a list of things to get done. There's 9 things you have to get to us. Get them. The faster you get them, the faster we get this done. You drop a $10,000 deposit. That covers all the legal fees. And then we get our contract signed. And within 3 days, I own your corporation and you're off the hook. 50. Oh, right. More shades. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. 15% withholding tax on American stocks. I'm sorry. I need more information on that, please. I have stocks in my TFSA. What do you suggest? All right. Before you cash any of that out, you got to get a hold of me and we'll build a strategy on that one. But I can get you back all the taxes on it. Just don't be in a rush. Let's do it the right way. How do I know what CRA knows about me? Okay. They know nothing about you except what you tell them. They know everything you tell them. They know nothing else. That's just how it is. They hired 30,000 maniacs from god-awful countries with low intelligence quotients. They expected to make more money doing it. They lost money doing this, and now they're firing them all. They're in a complete and total disarray. They know nothing about you except what you put on that tax return. So stop telling the truth. Do I have to declare spousal support? My divorce lawyer said it's taxable. Your divorce lawyer is an idiot. You don't have to declare anything. You know, divorce, if you have support coming in from a previous spouse, no, you don't declare it. Lawyers know nothing, man. Lawyers are, you know why I kick lawyers' asses in court? Because they don't study. They don't know anything. They're afraid of losing their license. So they just capitulate to what remember what I said earlier in the show? To what the status quo is. Never go with the status quo. Can you deal with Revenue Quebec or only CRA? Yes, there are ways to deal with Revenue Quebec, but you got to be careful with them. All right. Thanks, Mary. Appreciate that so much. Got to be careful with them. Yes, like I said earlier in the show, for my Quebec clients, we move them into Ontario, and they do business from there, but they live in the Quebec, and you have a Ontario driver's license, and everything is okay. Yeah, there we are. I thought income with the TFSA isn't taxed. Well, if they told you that, take it out and see what happens. Right? Of course it's taxed. It's the Canadian friggin' government. Of course it's taxed. Tax-free savings and accounts are just like RRSPs. They'll nail you somewhere. Is Panama safe to live in and invest in? I've been here for a year. It's great. It's safe. The people are kind, nice, polite, traditional, Christian, nationalistic. It's amazing. The city is being completely rebuilt right now. It is looking pretty friggin' good, I will say. Now, I bought a condo, and tomorrow I'm going to go buy another one in a loft condo. It has glass floors. I can't wait to get my hands on this place. This town, Panama City, is fabulous. There we go. Boban Ohm says, you want an Ontario driver's license? Go to Ottawa. Go to Cornwall. Get one. Just what you do, take a photo of your Quebec driver's license. Go to Ontario. Don't take your original one with you. And then say that you want an Ontario license because you live here now. And all you got to do is change your online banking, have a void check with your new address, which would be my address in Ontario, and you're good to go. Get your license. Don't ever show them the original because they'll take your Quebec license and give you the Ontario license. You always want to keep emergency licenses, always. What's the Panamanian medical system like? 20 years ahead of Canada. 20 years. I was in medical theater, which means you're up high and you can watch the surgery taking place. And this surgery was being done where this guy's knee was completely destroyed. And I mean, it was gone. It was done. So in order to rebuild this guy's knee, they literally removed the bottom half of his leg. And they brought in this really amazing jointed knee made of stainless steel or surgical steel, sorry. And they clipped it over the bone and then they reattached the leg. Yeah. I'm watching this thing. I'm thinking, this is incredible. Now, I got a strong stomach. I can watch this stuff, no problem. But I had no idea that to put that kind of a joint on, like a brand new knee like that you had to remove the bottom half of the leg, which they did. And they put the guy's leg back on. Whoa. So what I'm saying here, folks, is that the surgeries that are being done here are absolutely remarkable. And excuse me. Sorry. Oh, man, Lord, I'm tired. We're opening up a medical business down here for ladies who want to get augmentation done because we can get it done for like $5,000. Not $18,000, $20,000 like in Canada, $5,000. And we're actually going to be financing it. Yeah. Could you imagine that? I found a way to finance breast implants down here in Panama. Try doing that in Canada and see how fast the medical agencies shut you down. There we go. How much for taxes down here? If you are a gringo, and they typically mean anybody who's either white or just not born in Panama, but who speaks English perfectly. If you're a gringo in Panama, you can become a tax resident, and every penny that you make from outside of Panama is tax-free. Yeah, tax-free resident. I am a tax-free resident here. So every penny that I make for doing taxes in Canada and doing consultations in the United States, all tax-free. All right, love it. Hi, I owe the government $13,000 just with T4s, and it was a rare year of high earnings. Okay, so if it's a T4, that's just personal tax. That's all that is, just personal taxes. So with it being personal tax, I just read you your tax. Like there's nothing else to say on that, and I'll get you down to zero, just like that. All right, we're down to our last 10 minutes here, everybody. So we'll take a few more questions, and then I got to book it right at the top of the hour. Okay, FC. So if you want me to contact you, you just got to hit me on my website. My name, KevinJJohnston.com. What is Panama tax if you work here? If you have a corporation, zero. But that's a long explanation. I don't have time for that tonight. I operated my business. So your operating business is closed, but you owe GST, CEBA, and business visa. Should I file bankruptcy? Nope. Reactivate the corporation. It's called reviving it. Reactivate your GST number. Sell me that corporation. You're off the hook. Just like that. Just like that. All righty. I'm going to check the Rumble chat room here for questions. 1 second. All right. Waythorn says, Question for Kevin. What's this new thing about Ontario saying that corporations have to keep ISC, individuals with significant control registry, and making shareholders liable for fraud? Well, that's a voluntary program. If you want to tell the Ontario government who the shareholders are, be my guest. I would highly recommend that you don't. Because, again, they have not changed the law. This is only a suggestion that they're making. If you have a privately run corporation or privately held corporation, you are under no obligation to tell any member of any government anywhere at all who the shareholders are and what the shareholder agreements are. None of their business. So Ontario says a lot of stuff. Ignore it. It's bogus information. I had an arbitrary assessment of 39 grand. I paid it, never got a refund. Never, never, never pay the CRA. Never pay the CRA, ever. We've got clients of mine who took out mortgages on their homes to pay tax bills. And you know why you have tax bills, everybody? Is because you freaking tell the truth to the CRA. Stop doing that. You don't have to tell them what you make. My God, could you imagine? Imagine this. Let's say from age 18 to 65, you never did a tax return and you kept every penny you ever made. You'd be worth about 20 million bucks. My God, stop talking to the CRA. Let me do your taxes. I'll put down the minimum that the law allows me to do for taxes, and you're going to pay nothing. And there we are. Are there lots of trees down in Panama? I want to move my tree service to Panama. Yeah, it's jungle. It's everywhere. I mean, it's a small country, but it's something like, I don't know, 4% of it is actually settled. The rest of it's trees. So yeah, there's trees. All right. My website is my name, everybody. KevinJJohnston.com. How hard is it to set up a limited liability corporation in Panama? How much to set it up? $4,000 US to get the lawyer to set up the corporation and get the bank account open for you. That's it. It's that easy. And it can all be done remote. Do I have to provide my ID for Bruce Wayne to be the new director of the company? Not if I'm your tax guy and not if I'm your corporate guy. Absolutely not. You can just show here. Let me show you the identification right now. This is my ID for the other director of my corporation. And this is the other ID card for him. Oh, yeah, it's Wrigley's gum, by the way. No, you don't. Do the bare minimum. When you're snitching on yourself, say nothing. And just stop doing it. Are LLCs and corporations the same? Yeah, there's slight differences, but nothing that matters. I mean, an LLC is something that I use if I'm going to bring partners into a corporation. But Inc., LLC, and LLC is an American designation. In Canada, it's LTD. So don't worry about it. It's all the same crap. CRA has been trying to call me. I should never. No. Okay, guys, when the CRA calls, take the call. And you say, what do you want? And they'll say, well, you owe taxes. You say, that's a fraudulent claim. I do not owe taxes, but I'm going to hire a lawyer. Leave me alone for 120 days while I find legal counsel. Hang up the phone. They have to give you 120 days. They have no choice. They have no law that says that they can't give you 120 days. You say 120, you get 120. It's that simple. Do I file with the CRA? I file the minimum amount of anything that I need to, but I only file anything with the government when it benefits me. If the government wants me to do something and they're not paying me for my time, I don't do it. The Canadian government is not to be feared. They're a friggin' joke. Even the prison system is a joke. They're all jokes. It's all a joke. I'm not doing anything for the Canadian government that does not benefit me first or me second if they're paying me, and they don't pay, so I ain't doing. All right, everybody, there's no point asking me to come into the live. This is not a live where I'm taking live questions, but I'm going to start doing that in May. So we're going to have very special TikToks where I can invite people in. But right now, it's just me talking, if you don't mind. Thank you so much for that. Can I pay your debt? No, we're in business to make money, not give it away, but I can help you with your taxes. That I can do. Okay. Thank you, Overtax Canadian. We'll get a hold of you shortly. What expenses can I claim on my personal taxes? Any hints? Medical, marketing, part-time business expenses of any kind, legal, accounting expenses, educational expenses, old age caregiver. So if you're taking care of mom and dad, you can write all that off. All of it, everything. How do you reconcile doing CRA versus QRA? Okay, if you're talking the quantum stuff, I'm out. That's free man on the land stuff. Not interested. I don't do it. CRA saying they contact the Bank of Canada to garnish. Okay, as soon as you get a CRA letter, empty your bank account, come to me. We open a corporation for you. You go get a corporate bank account with a new numbered corporation, put your money there. And what are you waiting for? You get a letter from the CRA, pull your money. Pull it all. The CRA wants money. Let me fix that. I'll get your taxes done. Pull your money out. The first threat you get, pull your money out. How much is a nice 3-bedroom condo in Panama? I've seen them as low as $90,000, and I've seen them as high as $600,000. But the ones in the middle, the ones around 150 to 200, are equally as good as the 600 ones. So you're fine there. Can you write off gas receipts and repair on your vehicle? Yep. But think bigger. Think legal. Let's just say you had a legal expense for $25,000. Isn't that better than screwing around with gas receipts for $100? But yes, you can. How do you change the director of your corporation? Everybody who registers a corporation in Canada gets what's called a corporate key. You could log into the corporate website, the provincial website, and change the directorship, except for Alberta. Alberta is the only one you can't do that. So in Alberta, you've got to fill out a form and fax it in to the registry. But everywhere else, you can do it online. Does claiming caregiver affect my mom and dad's income tax? No, not at all. Because you're the one who's going into great expense for them. It's not like you're paying them. You're paying to take care of them. Should I pull up my TFSA and put it into a corporation? Yes, but talk to me before you do that. Yes. Can the CRA take your home? No, because they don't put liens on properties. They only get writs of execution, which are quite useless. And what we do is we file a motion in the court to have it removed, because we will invoke Clause 7 of the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights, which will state clearly that you do not owe any tax until you've had an impartial review. Then we sue the CRA and all that nonsense goes away. You paid legal fees to a lawyer for a car accident. Do you claim the fees? Yep. And all the parking and the coffees and lunches that you bought too. Is it easier for you to work with family or individuals? We work with everybody. You know, we got a couple of clients where we do taxes for all the adult kids and the parents. I mean, some of the families that come to us are as big as 8 people. Doesn't matter to me. No, we'll do your taxes. Should I change my corporate directors and add all anonymous people? Yep. Yeah. Yes, you should. There we go. All right, everybody. We're down to our last minute here. So I just wanted to say thank you for everybody watching on Rumble, Facebook, DLive, Twitch, YouTube, Restream, Trovo. I can't remember all the places that we're broadcasting, but I want to say thank you for being here. My name is KevinJJohnston. This is the Tax and Money Show that runs absolutely every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You'll find us live on freedomreport.ca, x.com/KevinTheJackal, x.com/KJJTV13, and over on TikTok at Real Kevin J. Johnston and Instagram at Kevin J. Johnston with the T forever. You'll always find me here Tuesdays. I don't miss a beat on Tuesdays. I love doing this show. I love educating you, and I love you all. Have a great night.